A reading from the first book of Samuel. The Lord said to Samuel, "Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem, for I have chosen my king from among his sons." As Jesse and his sons came to the sacrifice, Samuel looked at Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed is here before him." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not judge from his appearance or from his lofty stature, because I have rejected him. Not as man sees does God see, because man sees the appearance, but the Lord looks into the heart." In the same way, Jesse presented 7 sons before Samuel. But Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any one of these." Then Samuel asked Jesse, "Are these all the sons that you have?" Jesse replied, "There is still the youngest who is tending the sheep." Samuel said to Jesse, "Send for him. We will not begin the sacrificial banquet until he arrives here." Jesse sent and had the young man brought to them. He was ruddy, a youth handsome to behold, and making a splendid appearance. The Lord said, "There, anoint him, for this is the one." Then Samuel, with the horn of oil in hand, anointed David in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon David. The word of the Lord.
Praise be to God.
There is nothing I A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians. Brothers and sisters, you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for light produces every kind of goodness and righteousness and truth. Try to learn what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the fruitless works of darkness. Rather, expose them, for it is shameful even to mention the things done by them in secret. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, for everything that becomes visible is light. Therefore it says, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." The word of the Lord.
Praise be to God.
Glory to you,
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As Jesus passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. Jesus spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva and smeared the clay on his eyes. Jesus said to him, Go and wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. And so that one went and washed, and he came back able to see.
Open my eyes, Lord. Help me to see.
Now his neighbors and those who had seen him as a beggar, they said, Is not this the one who used to sit and beg? Some said, It is. But others said, No, it just looks like him. He said, I am. They brought the one who was once blind to the Pharisees. Now Jesus had made clay and opened his eyes on the Sabbath. So then the Pharisees also asked him, How was he able to see? He said to them, He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and now I can see.
Open my eyes, Lord. Help me to see.
So some of the Pharisees said, "This man, he is not from God, because he does not keep the Sabbath." But others said, "How can a sinful person do such signs?" And there was division among them. So they said to the blind man again, "What do you have to say about him, since he opened your eyes?" He simply said, "He is a prophet." They answered and said to him, "You were totally in sin, and are you trying to teach us?" Then they threw him out.
Open my eyes, Lord. Help me to see.
Now, when Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, he found them and he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered and said, "Who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "I do believe, Lord." And he worshiped him. My sisters and brothers, the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. I do believe. My friends, in this fourth Sunday of Lent, this Laetare Sunday, this Rose Sunday, this Rejoicing Sunday, we continue our journey. It's a joyful journey, this Lenten journey, as we all look toward the day of renewal, as we all prepare for that joyful celebration at Easter. Now, this day we walk very closely with our elect. Our elect, those who are preparing for baptism. Now, our elect would be Yasmin. And Yasmin, by the way, this is her very first time, am I right? Number one time? This is Yasmin's first time actually stepping into this, our beloved sanctuary. Yasmin moved here a number of months ago from Washington, D.C., right? So Yasmin began her RCIA program and faith journey in her parish in Washington. And we were so grateful when she moved and continued her journey here with us. So one thing that I miss so much, I tell you this over and over again, but I miss the simple things we used to do, like welcoming our many our guests and visitors each morning on Sunday. We don't have as many guests and visitors these days because very few of us are traveling, but we miss that moment and opportunity. So in a special way, you've met many of our folks, but today's kind of your first day to see Yasmin and to truly welcome her into this place. So let's first of all just give a simple, warm, loving welcome to our sister Yasmin. We live it, we proclaim it, we try so hard to keep on working at it, that all are welcome in this place where God's inclusive love is proclaimed. We recognize our own call to be people of welcome, people who practice hospitality. and recognizing that in welcoming each other, we never know when we are welcoming in our midst angels who walk among us. So as we celebrate this second scrutiny of the elect, I continue to call out our elect. Yasmin, yes. Samantha, here as well. You met Samantha at the rite of welcome a number of weeks ago. Here she is again today to ask for your prayers on her continued journey. And we welcome Sheldon, whom we also met at the rite of welcome. And Sheldon, too, on this day of scrutiny, when we all look within, when we all ask God to open our eyes, that we might truly see the work that is before us. So Sheldon, too, asks for your prayers and your support as we all continue, Yasmin, Samantha, and Sheldon continue their journey toward the waters of baptism. Now, the story of the person born blind from John's Gospel, it symbolizes our own journey, a journey from our doubts, our worries, our fears, our unbelief, for those moments when we have our own dark nights of the soul, when we have our own dryness along the way. It symbolizes from that place to a place of faith, from darkness into light. Now, those Pharisees, they might have had perfect or excellent eyesight, but they couldn't see what was right before them. They couldn't see the goodness of Jesus, the goodness of his works, his ministries, his loving way, a way which we strive to follow every day. We too can be blinded by our distractions, blinded by the things that occupy our mind, our worries, things that we fear. All these things can blind us from what is so good right before us. I love coming into this sanctuary and thinking of all the good that has happened and continues to happen in the name and in the works of this community of faith. Now, St. Paul here reminds us of who we are. Paul says, once you were in darkness, but now you are light. Not you are in the light, but you are light. You are light in the Lord. Now we believe, we profess it, that Christ, the light, has come into the world. And even though, yes, we all know there are times when maybe we prefer the darkness, but today we enter into the light of Christ's love. We let the light kind of shine down brightly upon us to wash over us, even though at times, I think at times, it can be hard to let God's light shine upon us. Because staying in the light means facing the parts of our world, facing the parts in our own lives, with all of our history, with all of our blemishes, all of our scars, all of our wrinkles, all the stuff that we are maybe not so proud of, that we would rather not revisit, the parts of us that we simply don't like. The light shines on all of that, and we are not afraid. We are not afraid to expose ourselves, expose the stuff we hide. For the light shines on it all, and Christ loves it all. I think the light, it kind of shows up that sometimes false image that I present at times to the world. It's an image of who we hope to become. Last week I spoke a little bit about anger, both a holy and righteous anger and an unholy anger. Lent allows us to open ourselves up, that we might be a people who let the light shine even in those darkest little corners within ourselves. Allowing that light to bring forward the person we hope to become, the one who we really like to believe that we are on our way to being. And in those places, I believe we find hope. That non-judgmental and healing light, it shines into our thoughts, the good thoughts and the bad thoughts. And we keep on trying. We keep on trying to open ourselves up, our true selves, opening ourselves up to God and God's inclusive love. And we trust. All these things call us to trust that God did not come to condemn us. God came to save us. And I think to recognize that we are a part of the work of salvation. And isn't that what we're doing today? Part of our work of salvation is supporting, loving, and praying for each other. So Yasmin and Samantha and Sheldon, they count on your prayers, as do Caroline and Jared and Marcella as they prepare to complete their sacraments, as do all of us. We all rely on the prayers and the support of each other. So here we stand. We stand as a people, a faith community, people that boldly strives to proclaim and live God's inclusive love. And yes, there are times when we might struggle. It's very human. I don't think we should deny it or even be afraid of it. We avoid God's piercing gaze, trying desperately to earn or to deserve God's love, or convince ourselves that maybe others are somehow less deserving. But today, rejoice. On this joyful Sunday, rejoice. And let us not crawl away or hide away from God's love. Let us rejoice in it and simply bask in that love. Trust it, be willing to share it. It is then, I believe, that there might be no stopping us. For through us, this inclusive and ever-abiding love, it will keep on. It will keep on keeping on. It will keep on spreading throughout the church and really throughout the whole world. So we, as a people of faith, we take our faith seriously as a gift, an unearned gift, a gift that maybe we don't always feel like we deserve, but it's not about earning or deserving. Remember, Pope Francis said the Eucharist is not somehow a reward for our goodness, but a strength, a continued strength for our journey. And so we continue to pray for our brothers and our sisters as they make their way through the waters of baptism, through the full sacraments of the church, to the table of the Lord, where we all gather as one. God's beloved, holy, and happy family who are blessed and nourished and then challenged to go out, to be the blessing we have received, to feed those as we have been fed, to forgive, to share generously and freely God's inclusive love.